Welcome back to Osteo and Physio YouTube channel. Today's video is going to be showing you the best exercises to rehab a bulging disc injury. There is a key difference between a bulging disc and a herniated disc. With a bulging disc, the annulus fibrosus, which is the outer part of the disc, remains intact, with the nucleus pulposus, the inner part, slightly pushing on the outer fibres. The reason why this is important is you do not get sciatic type symptoms with this type of injury, and therefore the rehab is slightly different. The first part of the rehab exercises for a bulging disc is to help reabsorb some of the disc material that has come out. So with the nucleus pulposus, how we do that is we encourage extension exercises. So the first way that I really like to get the extension back into the spine, which is relatively comfortable and not taking it too much into the extreme, is on the knees and then gently standing up. We're going to bring the hands to the back of the pelvis, gently looking up towards the ceiling and then gently arching the back. We want to hold this for about 2 to 5 seconds and then gently coming back to centre. Again, because it's the first part of the rehab series, you want to make sure that you're happy extending back. If it's still really sore, I would look at maybe gentle walking and icing into the lower back first. The second exercise has 2 parts. We have a half cobra and a full cobra. Again, we're encouraging extension into that lower spine. So if you're comfortable doing the first exercise that I just demonstrated, I would then move on to this exercise as well. So how we do this is we start lying down on the floor, hands by your side, you're going to gently come up. So you see, this is the half cobra. You can have a kitten on your back as well. That's always helping with recovery. So we're going to hold that again for 2 to 5 seconds and relaxing back down. Again, we're going to repeat this about 10 times. If that feels relatively comfy, what you can then move on to is going up into a full cobra. So this is really kind of extending up through the arms, extending into that lower spine, again holding for 2 to 5 seconds and then gently allowing that to come back down. Good. So with all these exercises, you want it to be within a pain-free range and you want to be able to feel comfortable when you're doing it. So work up to each exercise. Once you've done the first one comfortably, then move on to the next one. Once you have completed the extension exercises, it is vital with a bulging disc to work both on your pelvic floor and your core activation. So if we start with the pelvic floor exercises, what you can do is either have the legs together like this, which is a little bit easier, or bring the feet together like this to activate through the pelvic floor. How we do activation is that you want to imagine that you're lifting up, but lifting up levels of a building. So I always think it's like you're going up different floors. So you want to kind of tighten it up where you're lifting up through the pelvis. You're lifting up to one level, lifting up a little bit higher, and then a little bit higher, holding for a couple of seconds, and then allowing it to relax. So first couple of times it's quite tricky, but you want to feel that you're kind of tightening in and then pulling it up each level and then holding. I would aim to repeat this kind of 10 to 15 times, holding at end range for about 2 to 5 seconds. So with the core activation, particularly post-disc injury, it's better to go through from beginner to advanced core activation. So the first part is you want to activate your TA muscle, which is your deep core muscle that acts like a corset from your belly all the way around into the back. The reason why is post-injury you want to regain that stability around the core area. So how we do this is we place the hands onto the tummy. As we breathe in, we push the tummy out, and as we breathe out, holding tight for a couple of seconds and holding that at end range for about 2 to 5 seconds. And then relaxing. It's that tightening on the expiration that activates the TA muscle. So if I demonstrate again, hands on the tummy, breathing in, we're pushing the tummy out, and as we breathe out, tight, 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 holding for 2 to 5 seconds, aiming between 10 to 15 reps of that. So again, building it up over time. So this is before we do any exercises specifically to the core. We want to make sure that we're engaging it with breathing. The second part of the core activation that I absolutely love for post-disc injury is looking at a glute bridge. Not only does this show how stable your core is, but you're also activating the pelvic floor as well. So again, 2 versions of this depending on how you feel with the exercise. Gonna start with lying on your back. First of all, you're gonna make sure you're pushing your lower spine towards the mat. So there's no arching into that lower back, so it's lovely and fixed initially. Hands by your side, you're gonna then lift up through the pelvis and holding. Hold for a couple of seconds and then relaxing back down. So not only are you firing your glutes and your pelvic floor, but you're activating the core. What you want to avoid and what you want to build up to have that stability is this, as you're lifting up, where it feels a little bit unstable. So you're doing it where you're lifting straight up, holding for a couple of seconds and then relaxing. So once you have mastered the glute bridge, to make it more advanced and build it up over time, is that you can get a Pilates ball, pop it between the knees, again fixing the core down initially for a good starting position, pushing the knees together to activate through the adductors and also to activate through the glute max when you lift, and then lifting up towards the ceiling. Holding that tension on, holding through the core, through the pelvic floor where you're lifting up. Hold for a couple of seconds, 2 to 5 seconds, and then relaxing back down. As you see, it's a lot harder to stabilise and you want to avoid this type of movement. So again, we're lifting up through, holding for a couple of seconds, and then gently allowing that to drop back down. So once you have mastered the exercises that we have done already, they're relatively comfortable and there's no pain, particularly on movement, we now want to move on to the next 2 exercises, so a little bit more advanced, encouraging more movement through the disc, more movement through the lower spine, as well as core stability. So the next exercise a lot of people already know, the CatCow, is absolutely brilliant for reabsorbing disc material and improving movement. So you want to go into an all fours position. You want to gently drop the tummy down, extend through the lower back and look up through the head. Hold for a couple of seconds. Gently draw the tummy and the pelvis under, really arching up through the back and dropping the head down. Good, and then just repeating that again. So looking all the way up, really extending through that lower back. Gently back to the middle and then continuing that movement through into that arched and flexed position, and then relax back down to the middle. We want to aim to do a cycle of an extension and a flex position about 15 times through, just to continue to get that movement through the body. Once you've done that and you're happy and it feels nice and strong, nice and comfortable through that lower back, we're then going to move on to the bird dog exercise. So again, you've probably seen this before. This is encompassing mobility, stability and core activation all in one exercise. Want to again go into that all fours position, pulling and drawing the tummy in tight with a nice flat back through. So holding it lovely and stable. We're going to aim to lift up, alternate arm and leg. Hold for a couple of seconds and bringing it gently back to the middle. Same on the opposite side. So again, you can reset the core every time you move into another rep. So pulling it in tight, making sure back is lovely and flat. Lifting up, alternative arm and leg. Holding for a couple of seconds and then gently back to the middle. So again, just repeating that a couple more times so you can see. Good, holding nice and stable. And then lifting up through. Good, so you want that to be lovely, slow and controlled. Aim for about 10 to 15 reps on each side and then repeat that daily just to increase that core stability post-injury.